UFC 314 just wrapped up, and it was probably one of the best cards of the year, not just on paper, but in performance as well. We had Alexander Volkanovski win the featherweight title back in an amazing performance. We had an amazing co-main event. Paddy Pimblett looks like he could be a big problem in the lightweight division. Yair Rodriguez showed that there's levels to this game against Patricio Pitbull. Gene Silva looks better than ever, and Dominic Reyes is still riding his streak. Before I start, I just want to say I was 11 for 13 all my picks. The only two fights I got wrong were the Bryce Mitchell fight, which I literally said after I picked it that I'm picking with my heart, not my brain. I didn't really think Bryce Mitchell was going to win, but I just kind of wanted to say that. Everyone knows Bryce wasn't supposed to win that fight. I was just rooting for him, to be honest, so I kind of picked him, but I literally said after I made that pick in my video, it's not good advice. Don't listen to this. I knew it wasn't a good bet, but the one bet I did get wrong, which I'll take full accountability for, is the Sean Woodson fight. I thought Woodson, coming off a KO, Ige coming off a few losses, Woodson had shown pretty good power in his punches, but Woodson just really wasn't active. And as far as the stoppage goes, yeah, it was stopped a little early, but worst stoppage in history is definitely a stretch. We've seen way worse stoppages in the UFC. Sean did get hurt, and he was getting hit in the head multiple times, not blocking it. And yeah, he was standing up, but he was going to stand up as the referee was kind of stepping in. So not the worst stoppage, but definitely early. But anywho, let's get in the main event. Alexander Volkanovski is back, but not quite back in prime form. He looked phenomenal in round one, but then that moment in round two, or was it round three? No, it was round two, where he got dropped. Dude, my heart dropped. Like, I was on the edge of my seat. I was praying, bro. I'm so glad it was in the last 10 seconds, but that was legitimately scary. And the whole fight, this was not a fun fight to watch as a Volk fan, bro. I mean, just on the edge of your seat the whole time. Volk can get caught. His chin, let's call it what it is. His chin's not like it used to be. But he did eat some good shots, like that one uppercut he kind of ducked into, and Lopez caught him. I'm surprised he ate that. And that fourth round blow where he cut Volk's eye, that's not like something old Volk would have reacted to. And as far as the drop goes, I don't know how. I feel like watching the drop when I watched the replay, old Volk could have taken it, but who knows? Maybe it was pretty powerful. But I do have to say, this is the best we've ever seen Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez looked amazing. Not only was he there the whole fight, he didn't gas out. He was defending the takedowns. He was throwing, and he landed some pretty good shots. But as I said in my video, we know that Volk is technically superior by a long shot. And even though Volk declined, he still is going to be over that level of Lopez. Look at it like this. If Volk's here and Lopez is here, Volk can decline a little bit, but he's still over Lopez. Like, yes, we know this isn't prime Volk, but it was obvious he was still going to be technically superior to Lopez. Some people are saying Volk should fight Yair Rodriguez. What a dumb thing to say, bro. Like, Yair Rodriguez is on a 2-loss streak before his win last night. He lost to Volk and Ortega, and he won his interim belt off Joshua Emmett. Like, come on, bro. I can't believe there's actual people that think Yair Rodriguez should get a title shot and it should be in Mexico. What a dumb thing to say. The fight to make is Yair Rodriguez versus Diego Lopez. The winner of that, if Yair wins that, maybe he can get a title shot. But for now, Volk needs to fight Movsar Evloev. It's a much safer fight than Diego Lopez. He's a Walmart Makhachev. He has much worse striking. His grappling is actually very elite, but it's still not as good as Makhachev's. Volk should be able to defend it. And after that, Volk's got to call it quits. Volk shouldn't fight any more than one more fight in his career. Like, he's definitely declining. His technique and fight IQ are so elite that even on his decline, he can still fight with the top guys. These city kickboxing boys, we saw Izzy just getting clipped with it against Imavov, and now Volk's getting clipped with it. Do they not teach how to defend straight rights at city kickboxing? They gotta have a team meeting sometime soon and tell them to start defending those. Volk pulling back, dude. It was scary. Like, he got dropped pretty well. I'm glad he recovered, but it was torture watching that. Like, that whole fight, bro. Lopez really does have some amazing power, and Lopez has one hell of a chin. Volk landed some hard shots on Lopez, and he ate them all like Tic Tacs. So I don't know what his chin's made out of. And he did wobble him a few times, but he never really hurt Lopez too bad. Either way, Volk still won the fight 4-1. If you say it was 3-2, you're just delusional. Lopez was tuning up Volk was tuning up Lopez that whole second round and even hit him. Volk was tuning up Lopez that whole second round and even hurt him bad with a shot and had Lopez wobbling. And then Lopez had one good shot, which was a knockdown, yes, but Volk recovered. I think that second round still goes to Volk. He was winning 95% of that round until the last 10 seconds. And then the only round Diego won is that fourth round where Volk hurt his eye or something. That was really odd. It wasn't even a hard shot that he hurt Volk with. Well, after he landed hit Volk's eyelid, he landed that uppercut that I was talking about earlier, which was flush. So I'm surprised that didn't knock Volk out. That fourth round was scary. I don't know. Volk should not stick around too much longer. His chin's just not going to hold up. But anyways, I think Volk should fight Movsar Evloev. Maybe give him 4, 5, 6 months to train, and then slap him on a pay-per-view headliner. Volk's final fight. Go out on the top and get another title defense at featherweight and cement yourself as the featherweight GOAT. A lot of people are saying too, like, this win doesn't count because Topuria left. That whole idea behind being the featherweight champ is that you can beat any man that can make the 145 weight class. It was just made clear to us that Ilia Topuria can no longer make the 145 weight class. Therefore, Volk is the best featherweight on the planet. Please keep Gene Silva away from Volk. Please. But next, we got the co-main. I read this one like a book. I told you Paddy Pimblett was likely going to win. And I was right. Like I said, Michael Chandler looked worse than he ever looked in his Charles Oliveira fight. And Paddy Pimblett's been looking better and better in all his fights. Not to mention, Mike's durability has never been good. He wears damage, and he just gets chinned a lot. Which, that knee Paddy landed was actually crazy. I'm surprised Mike was able to even eat that. Overall, Paddy just looked phenomenal. He did better than I even thought. I didn't even think he'd do this well. But he just had an amazing performance. I think next you got to do him versus, you could do Gaethje, winner gets a title shot. If Gaethje's so adamant about a title shot. You could do Paddy Pimblett versus Arman. That would be a really good fight because Arman's got that grappling. Both very unique on the feet. They both don't have the best striking, but they both can land some powerful shots. So I think Paddy Pimblett versus Arman Tsarukyan actually is an amazing fight. It's a #1 contenders fight. And then in the meantime, you do Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira. And what do you do with Makhachev? I don't know. He doesn't want to fight Ilia, so yeah, Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira. Winner of that gets a title shot. And the winner of Paddy Pimblett, Arman Tsarukyan, gets a title shot after that. Setting up those two fights also gives Islam time to see that welterweight title fight and see if he wants to go up and get that belt so the UFC can make it an interim or undisputed lightweight championship fight, or either of those two. But yeah, Paddy Pimblett looked phenomenal. His grappling's better than we've ever seen it. His striking's better than we've ever seen it. His cardio, his chin. He got hit with a clean shot by Chandler and ate it like a tic-tac. Overall, he looked amazing. Vicious ground and pound. He was, like I said in my breakdown, his grappling is just as dangerous as Oliveira's, which sounded like a hot take, but just look at this performance and you'll understand what I was saying. Obviously, we know Mike's hard to submit. He's only been submitted once in his whole career, and it was against Dustin Poirier after Mike made a pretty big mistake. But Paddy Pimblett knows that, and Paddy Pimblett teed off on him on the ground instead of trying to look for a submission like Oliveira did. It was a much better fight than the Oliveira fight, too. Way more entertaining. One more thing. Oliveira's not beating Islam. Like, I don't even want to see that rematch. If we're going to give Islam another lightweight title fight, please just make it the Ilia Topuria fight. And yes, the Arman fight would be good, but again, we've already seen him beat Arman. I don't even know what you do with Gaethje, bro. Can we not be dumb? Like, we know Gaethje's going to get ragdolled. He literally got beat by Rafael Fiziev in the grappling in the first round and looked like trash. So just please keep Gaethje away from the title shot. I don't care what Ali Abdelaziz says. As far as Michael Chandler goes, yeah, he could retire right now. That wouldn't be the worst decision. But I don't think he's ever going to be in a spot where the UFC would cut him just because he's such an entertaining fighter. I still think if Conor McGregor comes back, you put him against Chandler. Conor McGregor actually has a decent chance of winning because if he clips Chandler, it could be game over. So I say you do Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler if Conor comes back. And if he doesn't come back, you can do Chandler versus like a Benoit Saint Denis. I don't know if his fight with Joel Alvarez is still happening. You could do Chandler versus Grant Dawson. That'd be a good fight. I hope he chins Grant Dawson. I'm tired of that guy. He's such a boring fighter. But yeah, this fight was amazing. Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull. Again, I read this fight like a book. I told you, when it's pure striking, no one's beating Yair. Patricio Pitbull tried to throw in a little grappling, but Yair Rodriguez takedown defense and defensive grappling actually looked pretty phenomenal. And he was able to knock down Patricio Pitbull in round 3, I think it was. Yeah, round 3. I don't know why he chased Patricio Pitbull to the ground. He almost got himself caught. I think he should just let Patricio Pitbull up and kept tuning him up on the feet. But either way, Yair Rodriguez looked great. His kicks are still fast as lightning. He still has a phenomenal chin. What do you do with Yair Rodriguez? Like I said, you give him Lopez in Mexico City or whatever. They have a beef. They got to squash it. Lopez coming off a title loss. Yair coming off a win. That's the fight to make. It's going to be fireworks too. Bryce Mitchell versus Gene Silva. I don't know why Gene Silva wasn't the bigger favorite. He, like I was even thinking this before the fight. Like, and when they were walking out, I was like, I cannot believe he's only a minus 100 something favorite. Yeah, he's only a minus 198 favorite. Yeah, he looked amazing. Ultimate disrespect to Bryce Mitchell. People are saying Bryce Mitchell was a bad guy for not touching gloves, bro. Gene Silva was mocking him and ridiculing him the whole fight week. Why would he touch gloves? But Bryce Mitchell did look decent in the striking in the first round, but Gene Silva didn't even look like he was fully trying. He landed the same combo on Bryce Mitchell that he landed on Melsik Baghdasaryan in his last fight and sat Bryce Mitchell down, and then he submitted Bryce Mitchell, so. Oh my God. This is why you don't pick with your heart. This is why you always pick with your head. I picked Gene Silva with my head, but in my heart, I wanted Bryce to win. Just because I always love a good underdog story. No other reason. Don't try to make it something it's not. Bryce Mitchell just doesn't have enough pop on his feet to change the trajectory of a fight. His only way to get a come from behind victory is like a submission or something. Gene Silva looked so good. Who do you put him against? You could do Gene Silva versus Arnold Allen, which would be an amazing fight. You do Gene Silva versus Aaron Pico, who just came into the UFC. That would be an amazing fight. Aaron Pico has good grappling and good boxing. But any of those would be a phenomenal fight for Gene Silva. And Bryce Mitchell, I say he needs some time off, though. Now we obviously know he's never going to be a champion. He's always just going to be a fun fighter to have around. So just give him a lower-ranked guy and see what he can do. But, yeah, Gene Silva looked phenomenal. A very high chance of being a future champ. And his performance against Bryce was better than Ilia Topuria's performance against Bryce. Bryce was able to hold down Ilia Topuria and make him miss on the feet. Gene Silva did not get held down by Bryce, and I'm pretty sure Gene finished him faster. Nikita Krylov versus Dom Reyes, another one that I read like a book. I told you this was an awful stylistic matchup for Nikita Krylov. Nikita Krylov is a very good grappler, but Dominic Reyes does so happen to have very good defensive grappling. On top of that, Nikita Krylov is a good striker, but Dominic Reyes is a great striker with lots of power in his shots, and he can hit well off the back foot, which is exactly what he did in this fight. I think next for Reyes, you do a number one contenders fight and then a title shot. So you could do Reyes versus Yuri, give him the rematch. He did knock Yuri out in that fight with an up kick. What else? You could do Reyes versus the winner of Roundtree and Hill. Bro, I'm blanking right now. I can't think of heavyweights. Reyes versus Alberg. That's a phenomenal fight. Yeah, that's the fight to make. Dominic Reyes versus Carlos Alberg. That's the fight to make in the light heavyweight division. Winner gets a title shot. Put that on the undercard of that Alex Pereira Magomed Ankalaev fight so they have a backup ready to go. But that's the fight to make. An amazing fight, and Dom has a pretty good chance of winning that one too. So Dominic Reyes looked phenomenal. Nikita Krylov, he just coming off that layoff. He was slow. He looks old, a lot older than he is. He's only like 30. I don't know what you do with him. You give him like Jan Blachowicz or something. But yeah, Dominic Reyes looked phenomenal. This is one of the greatest comeback stories you've ever seen. Sean Woodson versus Danny Ige. This is one that I got completely wrong. I'll admit it. You know, I thought Woodson would have the momentum. Woodson has the power, more power than Ige, or so I thought. But Ige just, he was a bigger dog. And Sean Woodson, I don't know what he's doing. He wasn't throwing. That's what he's doing. He just wasn't throwing. I don't think he was down 2-0. I don't know where the judges got that scorecard from, but either way, Danny Ige, he was a much more active fighter. And at the end of the day, sometimes judges don't know what they're looking at. But Danny Ige was putting Sean Woodson on the back foot, and I guess that was enough to give him the win, or at least for those 2 rounds before the 3rd round, which there's a TKO. They're good fighters, but they're not going to ever be up to like the Gene Silva, Volkanovski, Evloev level. Even Arnold Allen. I do like Danny Ige a lot though, and I'm glad he got a win. He is one of the coolest fighters in the UFC. Next we got Virna Jandiroba versus Jean Nan. I didn't really know too much about these girls. I told my boy pick Virna Jandiroba. I don't got much to say. She did a good job controlling the fight. Chase Hooper, Jim Miller. Chase Hooper should not have been as big as a favorite as he was. He certainly didn't perform like a minus 800 favorite against Jim Miller. Jim Miller gave him a tough time, which was not the best look for Hooper, but Jim Miller's always game. And Chase Hooper, you can definitely tell he's a younger fighter. His post-fight interview was one of a kind, for sure. Like, I don't know why he'd say that. That's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, Chase Hooper looks good. I don't know what he's ranked now, if he even is ranked, but he's a lightweight. You could do Chase Hooper versus... I'm trying to think of the ranked lightweights, bro. I don't want to look it up because I know this. All right, I'm going to look it up. You can do Chase Hooper versus Renato Moicano. That'd be an amazing fight. Both solid grapplers with some pretty good technique on the feet. Chase Hooper definitely has a good chance to win that one as well. I don't know who he called out, some random person, but that's the fight to make. Renato Moicano, another seasoned vet for Chase Hooper. He already destroyed 2 vets. Let's see if he can destroy another. Julian Erosa, again, I knew Julian would win. Much younger fighter. This fight was real sloppy, the finishing sequence. Darren Elkins was really hurt. He's like on the floor. The fight probably could have been stopped earlier, but Julian Erosa looked good. Not much else other to say. It was 1 round. Julian Erosa pieced him up, and that was the fight. Michael Jacek versus Cedricus Dumas. Again, got this one right. Mikhailo Jacek looked phenomenal. Landed a massive knockdown on Cedricus Dumas, and that was all she wrote. Some say the stoppage was bad. I don't think it was terrible. Cedricus Dumas was just covering up. I don't know, though, because it's defend yourself at all times, right? And Cedricus Dumas was defending himself, but he wasn't getting back up, so I don't know. They could have let go for a little bit, but either way, Mikhailo Jacek looked phenomenal. Sumadarji versus Raposo. Again, I picked Sumadarji. This fight could have gone either way, split decision. I really wasn't watching it too much. Marco Tulio versus Tresean Gore. This fight was a banger on the early prelims. Is it going to load? Alright, whatever. It's not going to load. This fight was a banger, though. Fun while it lasted. Tresean Gore and Marco Tulio were just swinging leather. Marco Tulio hurt him bad in the first round, but Tresean Gore was able to throw some stuff back. And then the second round is where it all went downhill for Tresean Gore. The first round itself seemed like it was forever. Like, there was so much that happened in that first round. But then that second round, Marco Tulio, he just looked phenomenal, to be honest. He looked really good. So I think you got to give him like someone right outside the top 15. Definitely a more skilled opponent because he does show very promising potential. And then lastly, Nora Cannoli versus Haley Cohen. I picked Nora Cannoli. I don't really know too much about him. I didn't really watch this fight, to be honest, either. I was just doing stuff at the time. But yeah, good win for Nora Cannoli. Overall, 314, an amazing card. Definitely the best one of the year so far. And thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.